Internet died. I'm just gonna try to push past it and get right back into streaming. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to push past it and get right back into playing the game. Slipton says, I mean, remember there's the grinding strategy in this game where you attack your own party members instead of the monsters. That is true. I need to get back to doing that, in fact. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. Internet's just messing up again because... every time I try to stream while I'm here, this internet must torment me. Anyway. What I was saying is that, like, a lot of players in Skyrim just use a strategy where they'll boost their level really quickly and boost their smithing skill incredibly quickly by just making a bunch of iron daggers. And then they can sell all those daggers to get more money. Yeah, you're right. You're reminding me, Sleepless. I need to get back to the strategy where my party members attack each other so that they can get stronger. I guess let's keep going down. Yeah, let's keep going down this way. More skeletons. Oh, what the heck? Let's have them attack her. Or attack them. Attack them. Hey, Lusume, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Oh, for those just tuning in, who weren't here in previous streams, last stream, we actually managed to reach, the 200th, the $700 donation goal. So y'all will get to decide a new emote for the channel. And we are now working our way towards the $800 donation goal, D&D Solo Adventures. So even though I'm not playing XCOM 2 this stream, any donations made to this stream will count towards the XCOM 2 donathon. So if you're able to, please consider donating. If you're not able to, that's totally fine. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to go vote in the poll to decide what the 200th playthrough will be. If you haven't already, please go vote on if you want me to play Persona 4 Golden, Kingdom Hearts, Kid Icarus Uprising, or Xenogears to be the 200th playthrough. The poll's running until May 3rd, and whichever game of these four gets the most votes, that one will win. So if you're able to donate, please consider doing so. But if you're not able to, that's totally fine. And make sure to go vote in the poll. That one's. If you want to have an influence on deciding which game is the 200th playthrough, make sure to go vote in the poll. And also, as far as the $700 donation goal goes, I'm just saying. As far as the $700 donation goal and how that goes, soon enough, I will open like a form where y'all can it'll probably be after the poll is done. Yeah, after the poll to decide the 200th playthrough. Or I might go ahead and open it up sooner than that, because we do have like 2 weeks until that poll closes. But basically, as soon as I can, I'm going to put together the poll to decide what the for y'all to submit ideas for what a new emote for the channel will be. But before I do that, I need to decide if I'm going to commission an artist to make the emote. Oh, they're still affected by this. Yeah, I need to decide if I'm going to commission an artist to make the emote, or if I'm going to try to design the emote myself. On the one hand, I am slowly getting better at art. However, if I were to try to make the emote myself, that would take a lot more time because I'd have to draw it. I'd have to keep drawing and redrawing the emote until it gets to the level where I am satisfied with its quality. On the other hand, if I pay an artist to do it, if I commission an artist to design the emote, as well as some other emotes I'd like to have made, that will take less time. That will take a lot less time, but it will take away some. It will mean I'll have to spend some of the money I've been saving up to. It will mean I'll have to take some of the money I've been saving up to help me get out of here, and use it to pay off the to pay for the emotes. Oh, that heals them. Okay. Lusuma says, how's everyone today? I'm doing alright. Just got through, like, another day at work before starting this stream. Yeah, just got through another day at work before starting this stream, so... And I did get a lot of work done, like, yesterday. I spent a good portion of my day yesterday after the stream kind of deciding, like, coming up with a list of emotes for the channel, because I decided that if well, I had decided this before we reached the $700 donation goal, but I decided that if we did reach the $700 donation goal, I'd take the time to, like, have a few more emotes made, either by myself or by an artist I commissioned. Because I realized that there's quite a few emotes I'd like to have that were missing here. Yeah, and because we passed $700 donated, we are now working our way towards the D&D solo adventures. I might have gone the wrong... This might not be the right way, now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, this might not have been the right way to go. Here, let me use... Yeah, let me heal everybody up, and then let me keep roaming around. Okay, the west side of the world map left of the mountain range. So maybe I need to keep going down here? Yeah, maybe... Oh, this might be it. This is it. Okay, this is the right place. This is my city, a kingdom of Miages. You've certainly come a long way to be here. Well, this looks like the perfect place to buy some Miagic. Ice Shield, Knight's Armor, these gloves, Giant Gloves. Okay, and let's get some stuff, and then... Oh, he's still got... Okay, he's still got... Furion and Layla still have the Curse Status effect. Which, I don't know what that does in this game, but I expect that it's probably not good. Poison, cures amnesia, removes curses. Okay, I've got like 99 of these, so... Okay, let me see if I can get any magic here. Fire Tome, they've got that, they've got that. Okay, so let me get a Cure Tome for Layla. Cure Tome, Blink, Protect, Shell. I mean, I guess I can go ahead and learn these. That's right, they can only learn 16 spells. I'll have to remember that, so... Wall forms a wall that guards against magic attacks when used in battle. Deals holy damage when used. Okay, well, let's go. Let's teach everyone that. Teaches a life spell, revives a Kali. Yep, that'll be good. Reduces a myth when used in battle. Banishes target to another dimension, or transports the party to the previous floor when used in battle. Okay, yeah, that's good. Transfers the party out of dungeons use. Okay, this doesn't teleport to towns, this only teleports out of a dungeon. That'd still be pretty useful. Inflict silence. Okay, sure. So let's use some of these magics. Teach these magics to people. Okay, she knows sleep. And yeah, let me teach everyone all these spells. Oh, here, while I'm teaching all these spells, let's go ahead and watch that trailer for that new Super Robot Wars trailer that just came out, like, yesterday. So I mentioned, I was finally had enough money to where I could get Super Robot Wars Y, and because I found it on sale for, like, really cheap. So I was finally able to get the game, and I was like, okay, finally. I haven't been able to do it in some time, but I'm finally gonna get the chance to go back and continue watching all the shows that are featured in Super Robot Wars Y so that I can stream Super Robot Wars Y. And then only like a week or two after I do that, they announced more DLC for the game. So now I have a whole bunch more shows to watch. Which means, yeah, now I'm gonna have to watch Space Runaway Ideon, which, I've heard things about this show, so it's gonna be interesting if I've heard things about this show, so I'll just have to let y'all know how that goes. This one actually doesn't really add anything, so The Altered Sheikah's Children is like a novel based on Char's Counterattack, and I was already planning on watching Char's Counterattack as part of this, so that this doesn't actually add this to it. I'm still going to be watching Char's. I was already planning on watching Char's Counterattack. Oh wait, those are enemy mechs from Super Robot Wars 30. Now, one of these shows I'm really not excited for. I'm really not looking forward to having to watch Cross Ange. I got to experience a little bit of Cross Ange's story when playing through Super Wars V, and I am not I'm not looking for it. Idle at Aster. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me see this. Okay, this is Idolm at Stir Xenoglossia. Idolm at Stir Xenoglossia. Musume says I have to get back to work. Alright, good luck with work, Musume. Sleep says Brawl. I was unaware that Star Driver. This is another one. I've heard of this show, but hadn't watched it before. Sleep says Brawl. I was unaware that Idolmaster had mechs in it. I was too. I was unaware that Idolmaster had mechs in it, because I've never heard of Idolmaster before. When I said that, like, there are some shows or things in this that even, like, some mech stuff in here that even I hadn't heard of. Yeah, I have no idea what I'd never heard of Idolmaster before. So Eureka 7 I've heard of. I remember seeing a few episodes of it back on Toonami a long time ago, but I'd never gone through and watched the full series. And from what I've heard, Eureka 7 is a very mixed experience. So. Okay, hold on. Oh wait, there's more. So he says, I know of Idolmaster. I'm most familiar with Cinderella Girls, but clearly there's more than I was aware of. Eventually, unless a mech show can fully establish its identity, it will cross into having idols, and eventually, well, actually, no, that's not really the case. No, okay. Basically, there is a big overlap between mechs and idols. Yeah. There is a big overlap between mechs and idols. From what I've heard, that is what Macross. There's like that is what like at least one season of Macross is that. It's just maybe all of Macross for that matter. Sleep says Macross does exist. That's fair. Oh gosh, I'm not looking forward to having to see this guy again. Again, I haven't even seen the series. I've only played been exposed to Cross Ange's story through Super Robot Wars V, and from what I saw, it was not. So, okay, one I have to mention out here is... Okay, one I do have to bring specific mention to is Ideon. Because, from what I've heard, Space Runaway Ideon is considered one of the bleakest anime ever. And I don't know what exactly happens in that show, but something I do know, and this might be an indicator of it, is that, like, in one of the previous games, in one of the previous Super Robot Wars games Ideon was a part of, they had, like, you know, like a lot of mechs have their big ultimate attack. Well, if you use Ideon's big ultimate final attack too much in that game, you're locked into a bad ending. Which on the one hand, it's like, okay, that has me, that hints at a lot of what it could be happening in Ideon. But also just, that's some mechanic I haven't really seen anywhere else in any other strategy RPG, that like the game actually like here, especially not in Super Robot Wars. That's definitely not what I would expect from Super Robot Wars. Oh, okay. Actually, I have seen that in what's the name of it? There is one RPG kind of game I have seen it in. There's the Fuga Melodies of Steel. That's the one game I have seen that sort of mechanic in. Sleepless says, I will counter Fuga Melodies of Steel. Okay, so Sleepless and I were on the same track. Yeah, there, yeah. That is a trilogy, because there's like 3 games of that now. That is a trilogy I kind of do want to play on stream at some point, because that is like that's a more cult classic RPG series. And I kind of would like to play it at some point, but... Yeah.
それがディスコードフェイザーだ。これ以上はやらせん。遅い。
Oh my gosh, the beams of that saber have beams.
パワーが割っていくよ。やめろ。撃つな。仕掛けるぞ。距離があるからといって。よし、いけるぞ。
私にはまだ力が残っているままだ。
銀河を満たせタウの輝き
Wait, Tau!
タウ銀河ビーム
Wait, what the heck? Tau? That guy doesn't look like a blue alien at all. If we were ever gonna get Warhammer 40k units in Super Robot Wars, which will not happen, but if it did happen, like, I feel like the player units, the units that join the player side would have to be the Tau. because the Tau were basically made to be like, okay, let's add like an all mech faction into Warhammer 40k, and they actually like one of the people that don't like the Tau, the big reason they don't like the Tau is because like the Tau don't really exactly fit the Grimdark. Like they got some, like the Tau have some issues. They're very much like they're very much evil space communist. Yeah, they're very much like evil space communists, but actually it's a theocracy kind of thing. But they're still nowhere near as bad as 14 different flavors of the Inquisition, the Imperium of Man. So if we did get, I don't think it would ever happen. I don't know if it would ever happen, but if we did get Warhammer 40k in Super Robot Wars, I think it would be pretty good to like have the Tau as the player units, and then all the other factions you can fight as like enemy units. Because there's this kind of there's like this kind of amongst one of the most annoying groups of people on the internet, the power scalers. There's this annoying thing they think. There's this annoying thing where like, Warhammer 40k is the strongest. Like, no, when it comes to overall strength of its characters, nobody's stronger than Warhammer 40k units. And it would be really funny to see some Space Marines or Warhammer 40k vehicles like show up to try and challenge like Gundams or like Gao Gaigar, and they just instantly get slapped away. Slim says that would definitely help with the lack of enemy variety in IMO. That is an important... Yeah, I didn't realize it until after thinking about why they would bring back Majestic Prince for Super Robot Wars Y. But that really is April 2026. April 26th. So that's actually... That's pretty crazy. They're dropping this tomorrow. This is like 6 new series added to Super Robot Wars, and they're dropping this like tomorrow. So yeah, it's gonna be a little bit long. It's gonna be add more time onto how long it'll be until I'm able to stream Super Robot Wars Y because of because I gotta watch those shows now. Slim says, I've not really said much about Y, but I think between 30 and Y, I prefer 30 despite knowing fewer series in it. going back to what you were saying about like the lack of enemy variety. I didn't realize it until I was thinking about like, well, why would they bring Majestic Prince back? That it is actually really important to not just have a variety of mechs from different series, like a variety of different protagonist mechs from different anime, but also have a variety of different antagonist enemy units with like different functions. With different functions and like that are different from each other. Also, I mean, I am really excited to play Super Robot Wars Y just because of all these series that are being featured in it. Just because of some of the series that are featured in it and because of Super Robot Wars. But I will say, there is a part of me that's not as excited for it. That, like, my hype for the game has lessened a little bit just because the UI in that game, from what I've seen, like when I played the demo, the UI in Super Robot Wars Y is not great. It looks very much like a mobile game. Very stripped back. So functionally you could remove MJP from Y and it wouldn't actually change much. That is honest. I mean, yeah, it's not really I guess it's not really that surprising now that I think about it. As like more and more series get added to the Super Robot Wars game, each series will lose its importance. That's kind of actually why, and this is just me like having fan of ideas of like, oh, this is what I'd do if I could make the series. But if I was asked to direct a Super Robot Wars game, which, what I would probably do is just like have only like 10 to 12 series, I think, and then just focus in on those 10 to 12 series. Slip says, I would even make an argument that MJP being removed would be for the better, as it would focus the story more on Earth, where 90% of the game already happens. Elixir. Oh, we can only get like 6 of these, dang. Actually, fine. I'll spend all my money on Elixir. Well, yeah, I'll spend all my money on those. Okay, where do I need to go? Use the white mask at the pedestal at the bottom of the city. Okay, so we'll need to go down in here. Okay, over here. Key items, white mask. White mask pedestal. Head to the tropical island at the south of the world map. Okay. So it says, but again, I'm not trying to push you one way or another about another brawl. I'll let you make your own opinions about the games you play through it instead of asking you to take my views as gospel. No, that's fine. That's fine. I do value hearing your opinions on the game, Sleepless. As someone who's not as someone who's like strategy RPGs but isn't as into mech anime. And also, I do value your opinions as someone who I do value your opinion on the game as the series being represented in it as someone who's not crazy enough to watch every single show being used in this game. Oh, okay, actually, speaking of mechs, something funny happened, like a few days ago that's kind of made me come to a decision. So, like, like a few days ago, I think it was this past Friday, Farting Tart, friend of the channel, he's, and just good friend, he was streaming some Bloodborne, because he was getting Bloodborne, he was, like, trying out some Bloodborne, so he could use a randomizer mod with it, which I think he did the stream of that on Sunday. plug for Farting Tart in the chat if you want to go watch him, which you should. You should follow Farting Tart. Slim says, I had a favorite unit in why my beloved Strike Freedom Law, but that's on me, and don't expect to be as much as your immediate choice. I'm pretty sure I already know, like, what a good number of I'm pretty sure I already know, like, what, 2 or 3... I know what, like, 2 or 3 of my top 5 units are gonna be already. One of them's definitely gonna be the God Gundam. One of them's definitely gonna be, the Noble Gundam. From Mobile Fighter G Gundam, because I love that magical girl looking Gundam, and I love that the Super Robot Wars devs give Noble Gundam a lot more than what it got in the show. So it says Gurren Type Special got nerfed pretty hard. Ah, dang it! That was gonna be my third one, was Gurren Type Special. Kamen Rider Double is also gonna be one. My hope is that they keep the banter in from Double. That's one thing I'm excited for. Kamen Rider, like specifically Kamen Rider Double, being in Super Robot Wars, because Double is one of the funnier writers. So since they were pretty quippy. But anyway, okay, going back to what I was saying. So while I was during one of Farting Tart's streams, during Farting Tart's stream on Friday, where he was playing some Bloodborne, I actually joined in on the voice chat and was actually there for a little bit. And whilst I was there, I was talking with another friend of mine, CG, and who actually, like, we had a good conversation about, like, why CG it doesn't like mech anime, and it's basically that, like, and basically basically, it's just that, like, he had a friend who tried to get him into mech anime, but they did it the worst way you could, which was just constant spamming at someone. The worst way to get anyone to try to like a show, which is just constantly spamming them, like, hey, do this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Unending. But anyway, we had a discussion about, like, what he didn't like about why he didn't like mech anime, and what I really like about mech anime. So he says, like how those asshats that try to get you into Fate series by trying to send you Dojin for the franchise. No, it wasn't Dojin. You're along the same line, Sleepless. It's not Dojin. What they tried to do is they tried to explain they tried to get me into the Fate franchise by explaining the worst parts of Fate lore. Like the parts of Fate lore that the Fate fans are like, yeah, that part. That's the part they let in with. Like, the reason why I've joked about... Like, the reason why when talking about Fate, I will often bring up... Why when talking about Fate, I would bring up, the Jack the Ripper being a child thing, is because that was one of the things they tried to lead... I don't know why, but that's one of the things they tried to lead it with, into getting me into Fate. For some... Now that I say that whole sentence out loud, I feel like I should be kind of offended that they thought that would get me interested in the series. So it's still a sore spot because I know you'd like it if you tried, but I completely understand why you resist it. I am at the point right now where I would be willing to give it a shot. Because I have quite a few friends who really like it, I'm at a point now where I'm willing to give it a shot. Okay, well, sorry. I'm at a point right now where I have quite a few friends who I like, who do really like Fate. And then also some of the people who are as harsh about, who were as harsh about Fate as me, I now see how they were being really annoying about it. Like how the people who were being really harsh about Fate were being just basically like really annoying about it. Despite them having never seen the series. So I'm more open to giving it a shot now. However, I basically have too much on my plate right now. I basically have too much on my plate right now. In a similar vein, I am interested in getting back into comics, but I have to hold off on it right now because between all the games I need to stream, everything I need to do as far like me trying to get back into developing video games, me watching all these shows that I've already built up that I've been wanting to watch. Just between everything I already have that I'd like to do, I can't add getting into a Fate franchise as big as Fate or getting into something as big as comics again on top of that. Head to the tropical island to the south of the world map. Oh. It's it's down there. Huh. We're gonna have to go back. Slip says, but yeah, back to the guy you were chatting with Tar explaining why he doesn't like Mech Anime and the way it was introduced to him. No, okay, so it wasn't Farting Tart, it was another friend named CG. They were explaining why, he was explaining why he doesn't like Mech Anime. But basically, after I realized that, I did not do the stupid thing, which is tell him like, oh, well, you should just watch this anime, and you'll like it. No, I didn't try to do that. But what did happen after that, as I was like, dang. Basically, that conversation of him saying what he doesn't like about Mech Anime, and then me following up with what I do like about Mech Anime, was made me think like, dang, I really do like mechs. I really do like mechs. And basically what I decided is that for the whole, like, 700 follower... I kind of decided that for the 700 follower goal, when we reach that, I'll probably do the mech idea. I will probably, like, play 7 mech games. Because there's more in that list of mech games. There's a good number of games in that list of mech games that are games that I've been meaning to play anyway. Like, just going to some of the games that I'm considering for it. There's Front Mission, Xenogears if it doesn't win the 200th playthrough poll, Sakura Wars. Like, those are all 3 of those are games that have been like near the top of my I need to try this at some point list. Super Robot Wars Y is another one of those because Super Robot Wars Y is another one of the games that's suggested if I'm not able to get to it. If I'm not able to get to it before then. So yeah. With how many mech games I have on my list of games I really want to get to, I think that overall I'd kind of prefer to do... I'm sure I'd have a great time with the 7 Dragon Ball games. I'm sure I'd have a great time with the 7 Dragon Ball games, with the... Oh, not Dragon Ball games, with the 7 Akira Toriyama games. I'm sure I'd have a great time with those. But the 7 mech games are the ones that I've been like, there's more games than that I'd like to get to. Flip says, did I tell you that I finished Gundam IBO? I don't... You might have, but I'm not... You might have. But I don't remember. Dang it, I can't use it. Oh, gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna have to walk all the way back to my ship. Head to the tropical... Okay, so yeah, head to the tropical island to the south of the world map. So I'm gonna have to go from this town... Yeah, from here down to that island at the bottom of the world map. All the way down there. So, guess we're walking. Sue says, well, I did, and it was depressing. Yeah, I've heard... Honestly, rarely does a Gundam series have a good end. Well, not a good end. Rarely does a Gundam series have a happy ending. But from what I've heard, Iron-Blooded Orphans very much does not have a happy ending. So it says G-Witch has a happy ending that's kind of hand-wavy, but it's happy. Well, now on the one hand, I will add to what you were saying that, like, my favorite Gundam series, Mobile Fighter, G Gundam, that does have an overall happy ending. However, when I say this, I'm not just including like the anime series. There's also like stuff like the small OVA series and like some of the movies, like the mini series. A lot of those don't have happy endings. Speaking of which, apparently they're making like a Gundam live action movie, which is okay. Might be kind of interested to see the Gundam, to see a Gundam live action movie. First, I'm gonna watch a lot more Gundam. Yeah, I'm gonna watch a lot more Gundam first, but it's basically, it's a funny thing in that, like, a lot of these anime and shows and video games that I know, a lot of the like rights holders to them are like, oh, we know what'll get people like in their the theater for this. Let's make a live action Street Fighter movie or a live action Gundam movie. And with, like, that's made with the idea of like, oh, we could get, like, because it's live action, we could get it to a wider audience. When at least this is for me specifically. But when you tell me, like, oh, it's gonna be a movie that's live action, my interest actually, like, lessens a little bit. I'm very much, like, generally more an animation fan. The exception to this, of course, being, well, I mean, there is some exceptions to this. The main one being anything tokusatsu, which was obvious. Y'all already knew that. You tell me, yeah, that's like the one exception, and it's in the complete opposite direction, where if you tell me Godzilla's your movie, heck yeah, I'm watching that. One of the reasons why I'm thinking at some point that I want to get back into comics is because of how many Godzilla comic series are showing up. Like, I'm not interested in, like, that one series that's going on right now where it's like Godzilla destroys the Marvel Universe, but then again, I'm not interested in any of those. I have, like, negative interest in any comic book series that's like, oh, well, here's how this character kills everyone. Here's how this character kills every character. I have, like, negative interest in all those, or in any series like that. However, series that's like Godzilla, like, teaming up with Spider-Man, or, like, where it's like they had these series of Marvel meets Godzilla comics, where it was like Godzilla, different eras of Godzilla meeting different Marvel superheroes. That sounds really cool. There was a Spider-Man Ultraman series, which also sounds really cool. There's like a Spider-Man Superman series that sounds really cool. There's a currently ongoing series that's like Godzilla versus every state of the United States. And and I'm very interested to see. And I'm very interested specifically to see like I'm very interested specifically to read like Godzilla versus Texas because we've had it coming for a long time. But yeah, I've mentioned this before, but I mentioned this when I originally brought this up. But as far as like comic book series I want to read, I'll probably start with when I can eventually get back into reading when I eventually have enough off my plate where I can start reading comics again. I'll probably start with the Absolute series because that just seems like a really great starting point. Like I know quite a few people that have started getting more into comics because of the Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Martian Manhunter. We're in an odd, interesting state. From what I've heard, DC is actually like DC Comics has actually gotten like a pretty clear edge over Marvel as far as like comic sales. So we're in an interesting point right now where like Marvel shows and DC shows are kind of even. Because like Marvel has like X-Men '97 and like that's getting new seasons. DC has like My Adventures with Superman and that's getting a new season. So we're both in a state of like both are getting shows and like those are like the headlining shows for both franchises in my opinion. But there are other shows they're getting. Then it's like movies. They're also movies-wise, DC and Marvel are also kind of in an even position because like Marvel's kind of following behind, like at least critically, from some recent movies. However, like and DC's like kind of getting ahead, but Marvel's able to put out many more movies. Marvel's able to put out many more movies, so they can kind of make up for like quality with quantity right now. But then like. The two other areas, like DC Comics is actually ahead of Marvel, but then when it comes to video games, which is the area that I'm the most interested in, because I mean, I like video games, Marvel's like clearly ahead of DC. It's interesting just in these four different areas, like the two biggest comic franchises, or the two biggest comic universes, where they're at as far as comics, shows, movies, and video games, and like how they're competing with each other differently. In those different areas. Like apparently the DC Comics fans are so starved for a new good DC Comics game, for a new good video game based on some character from DC Comics, that an entire parody subreddit of Marvel Rivals. That is like everyone on the subreddit acting like what if there was a version of Marvel Rivals but with DC characters called DC Allies. Apparently that has sprung up. Just people want a new good video game with like Batman, Wonder Woman, or Superman so much that they have made a fan community around a fake game based off of the other guy's like really popular like best-selling game right now. Are really highly selling game right now. Okay, it took me a lot of time to walk over here, but... Okay, now we can go to this island down here. Let's go down here. And then... yeah, I'm guessing this is the island down here that I need to go to, which that is a... Gosh, I wish I could have, like, parked, like, had a way to move my boat. It's funny because there's like some small things that this game doesn't have that future Final Fantasies have, which kind of makes it understandable why those future Final Fantasies, Final Fantasies made after this one have those little things, like teleport, allowing the player to like teleport to a different city on the map, or like as soon as you get your boat, you're able to warp to the boat from wherever, or you can even like once you step onto water, you switch to the boat. Okay, so sure. Oh. I'm sorry, I thought you were stronger. Okay, so... yeah, okay, around there. Let me just grab some of these chests along the way. We've only got a little over 30 minutes left, so I'm going to try to get through here. Oh, it's just a whole bunch of rats. It's all a bunch of rats. Oh, right, that's not going to do much damage to them. Yeah, that was a mistake. Okay, Blizzard? They're red, so I feel like Blizzard would do more damage to them. Okay, it's over here. I think I'm a bit stronger than than most of the enemies here. Oh. Well, these guys might prove me wrong. Or not. Or they'll miss all their attacks. Okay, never mind. Never mind, we're good. checking some stuff. Okay, so around there. A whole lot of jellies around here. This might not kill them. Okay, got one of them. And then just, yeah, Blizzard again. It's a simple option, but it does do a lot of damage. Okay, so... Ah, dang it. Okay. I don't think this is going to be the right way, but let's just go down here and see where this goes. That leads down here. I feel like this chest is going to be full of monsters, but I'll check it anyway. I gotta tell you, checking a treasure chest in any RPG, it just doesn't feel quite the same. It just doesn't feel quite the same without the puns that Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure would have. Okay, that's them dead. Huh. Hello. Ooh, look at your weird face. Why are you not wearing a mask? Ooh, what have you here? Where you coming from? Ooh, look at your weird face. Why you not wearing a mask? Maybe that's maybe the face that Firion wears is his mask. Oh, okay. Demon Speed, Ruby Cuirass, Gaia Drum, Potion. Let's get a bunch more potions. Huh. I guess this is just a little side area here. Nothing much to this place. Yeah, okay, I thought maybe we were at our destination, but nope. Okay, well, I'll just let these guys hang out here. I mean, I'll just leave these fellows alone. Get rid of this bot here. Oh, frog! Unfortunately, I will have to kill the frog. Sorry, frogs. So this is not the way to go. So let's go this way. Okay, after this, so I'm gonna take a very short break right now. Yeah, I'm gonna take a very short break right now, and when I get back, we'll just keep. I'll just continue. We got a little less than 30 minutes left, but I just gotta take a short break. Okay, that took a little bit longer than I expected, so I might go a little bit longer to make up for that, but anyway. keep going. Ah, more Riats. Let me get rid of these Riats. And if I can make it, I'm gonna have to like run through here, but if I can make it, I'd like to get through this dungeon. I'd really like to get through this dungeon by the end of the night, or by the end of the stream, because that'll mean I'll completed another, like, I've completed like 2 sections of this in one night. Even though I was halfway through that first section, or mostly done with that first section. Ah, we shouldn't have used... Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Should've just kept using Miatic. Okay, so... down there, alright. Ah, more Riats. There's so many Riats. Okay, so... yeah, we don't have much longer left in the stream. I'll be back on Thursday with more God Hand. I'll be back on Thursday with more God Hand, and I'll be back on Sunday with another stream of XCOM 2. And Thursday's stream is gonna have to be another 2-hour-long stream. XCOM 2 stream will be much longer. Oh, dang it. Darn it. Let's go through here. There's... ah, dang it. Ah, more frogs. Oh, good. Okay, I can use that in case I find any vampires. Let's go... Okay, no, this is the way I went, so... I think I just need to go around here. So let's do that. I'll be honest, at this point, I've kind of lost track at where our stats are. And I've kind of just fully gone in onto everyone using, like, physical attacks. With some Miyagic, of course, like, them using, like, whatever Miyagic seems like it'll work fine. But I've really just, as far as, like... So it says, your stats exist. I mean, they've gotten to a point where they can just, like, one-shot most of the enemies they come across just with their standard melee attacks, so there's no real need to think about, like... Why take time to think about what each character can do and what I should have them do when just keep slashing, or in the case of like an enemy that's like really resistant to physical attacks, just keep spamming Miyagic at them. Doesn't really matter what Miyagic. Everyone knows all the same Miyagic. So if one spell doesn't do as much damage, then just move to the next spell. Okay, those two stairways go down, so... Actually, let me check my... health's looking fine. Miyagic's looking fine, so... Yeah, I might... So, yeah, it's gonna be... more God Hand on Thursday, more XCOM 2 on Sunday, and I really have no idea when my training period is going to end, because I thought it was just supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks, but it's definitely gone past that now. I think I'm on week 9 right now. So I might just, because it feels like my training could end any time, like any week now, I could get a notice that like my training has ended and I'll be moving to like my regular work schedule. I guess I'll kind of keep like the streams like this, like Final Fantasy 2, God Hand, and XCOM 2 in their respective days until the schedule changes. And then once I have that schedule change, I'll probably only be able to do 2 streams. Like, I think I'll probably only be able to stream on, like, Sunday, and, on Sunday and Tuesday. But I'll be able to make the streams longer. Like, I think I'll be able to do, like, a 4-hour stream on Sunday, and, like, a 6, maybe even 8-hour stream on, Tuesday. But that is gonna lower, like, the, what I can play each. Yeah, that is gonna lower, like, what I can play, the amount of games I can stream each week, unfortunately. I guess it's normal attacks from here on out. Okay, I got a sleep tome. And that might be where I need to go, over here. Okay, not a big deal. Oh, okay, we got a boss fight here. Alright. Well, after this fight, let me heal everyone up, and then I'll do this boss fight. And get this item, and that'll probably be the end of the stream. At least I now have teleport and warp, so I don't have to go, like, I don't have to go all the way back. I don't have to walk all the way back up through the dungeon just to, get out of here. And where is... There it is. That's just more of the bighorns. That's not even like a unique boss. That's just 4 of these guys. I've already fought 4 of these guys. I've already fought multiple of these guys. Oh, it only takes a few... Yeah, this is gonna be done quickly. It's only just a couple physical hits and we'll kill him. So yeah, whilst I'm annihilating this boss, just again, I'll be back on Thursday. Make sure, if you haven't, to go vote in the poll to decide what game I'll be to decide what will be the 200th playthrough. We've got quite a few votes placed already. But yeah, please go vote if you haven't already, because I want to make sure I get as many votes in as I can before the I want to make sure I get as many votes in as I can before the poll ends. Hooray, we have the mask. Okay, well, I'll go a little bit longer. I didn't expect that to be that... I didn't expect it to take, like, that quickly. Oh, hey, Amelia, welcome in. We're actually wrapping up the stream... Well, I'll be wrapping up the stream soon. I can really only stream for 2 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But... Yeah, I can really only stream for 2 hours Tuesdays and Thursdays, but... I'll be back on Thursday with more God Hand. Here, let me just take a save right here. Yeah, I can go... I did take a little bit longer of that break that I wanted, so I can go a little bit longer. Okay, where to next? Amelia says, fair. Still glad I could peek in at least. Okay, so next, I'll need to go to the Mysidian Cave east of Mysidia. Which I think means I need to go... Okay, Mysidia is over there. So the Mysidian Cave east of Mysidia. So I need to go to the east of Mysidia. Okay, let's quickly head over. So if you're just tuning in and wondering what's going on while I'm playing Final Fantasy II, basically, I really like playing RPGs, but I'd actually never played through a mainline Final Fantasy game until I started this special event that I'm talking about right now. I'd always started a couple of Final Fantasy games, but I'd never, like, fully played through them. And I decided to change that. Well, okay, after realizing that, and after realizing that the 40th anniversary of the Final Fantasy series is in 2027, I decided to change that by doing a very sane and and definitely not crazy choice of making a giant list of 40 different Final Fantasy games and planning on playing them before the 40th anniversary. So I've got a lot of Final Fantasies to get through. I've already beaten 6, 9, 7, 7 Remake, 1 Tactics Advance, and I'm currently playing through 2. And I've got a whole bunch of other games. I basically have every Final... I basically have every mainline game, including the MMOs, like a whole bunch of spin-off games, like the Tactics. I have, like, sequels to the mainline games, like the entire 13 trilogy. The Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy is on there. And I also have on here a bunch of games that... I also have on this list a bunch of games that aren't officially Final Fantasy, but they are basically Final Fantasy games in all but name. They're RPGs developed by Square Enix, developed by in-house personnel at Square Enix, and published by Square Enix. And they're either inspired by like official Final Fantasy games, or are close enough to official Final Fantasy games in like style and gameplay that they basically would be Final Fantasy games if it just wasn't if they were like, all it really would need is just like a slight name change and they'd be like Final Fantasy some spin-off title. So that's games like the 3 Bravely Default games, the 3 Octopath Traveler games. I think Triangle Strategy is on my list as well. Yeah, Triangle Strategy is on my list. And Fantasia Neo Dimension is on my list. So yeah, a bunch of games that are basically Final Fantasy in all but name. Okay, so now that we're here... What the heck? Behemoth? Slip says FF Tactics is Triangle Strategy, FF Tactics, and all but name lost. Even the name sounds like a placeholder title before they would name it something like Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics, Triangle. Like, the game itself, Triangle Strategy, looks really interesting. That's one of... It looks really interesting, and I'm excited to eventually get to it. But Triangle Strategy sounds like this is like when I'm just starting the project for a game that is a strategy game with a triangle as a big motif. I would name it Triangle Strategy as the project name. Actually, no, I wouldn't. All my project names for video games that I could potentially work on, they're all puns. Which is probably not surprising to anyone here. Which shouldn't be surprising to anyone who's watched me. Slip says, now I unironically like the name. Well, I only hope that... Slip says, Triangle Strategy's project name was actually just Project Triangle Strategy, lol. That is funny. Dang, they really were just like, we're too tired after making this Triangle Strategy, whatever. You know, I was making, like I said just now, and I've said quite a bit, that a reason why games like Bravely Default and like Octopath Traveler are included in my list, for First Fantasy, is because they are basically like Final Fantasy games in all but name. Like, they could be Final Fantasy spin-off games. But I have a sneaking suspicion that if they were actually just called Final Fantasy games, like if Bravely Default were just called Final Fantasy Brave, Triangle Strategy was just called Final Fantasy Tactics Triangle, Octopath Traveler was called Final Fantasy Octopath. I have a sneaking suspicion that not only would like the fans, like not only would fans' perception of not only would like the fans like of Final Fantasy feel like the franchise is in a much better state. I have a feeling the executives at Square Enix would feel it is too. Because I have a willing to bet. I'm willing to bet that like because it would add money from those games' sales onto the Final Fantasy series. So he says, not really? So he says, we have a Brave and we have a default mechanic in the combat mechanics. Can we just call it Brave default and call it night? I think it would be the case. I think it would be the case, actually, where Final Fantasy would be... So he says the only thing it would change is just people being able to complain that Final Fantasy isn't turn-based. No, I think it would be a change, because... I think there would be kind of a change, because it would mean that basically we'd be kind of in a state similar to the PS1 era, where there's like a new Final Fantasy thing releasing releasing once a year. However, each of those things is a different kind of game. Like, I don't think it would change people being... I think it would change people complaining that Final Fantasy isn't turn-based, because not because it was like, oh, we have the Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default games, and those are turn-based now. But I think it would kind of add to the whole thing that, like, Final Fantasy, like, is such a wide series that it could be any kind of RPG. We've got action RPGs over here. We've got turn-based RPGs over here. Strategy RPGs over here. We've got action turn-based hybrids with Final Fantasy VII Remake games over here. We've got Chocobo Racing over there. Oh wait, no we don't. We screwed up the new one. So he says, I doubt they would have sold significantly better with the FF name. I don't think it would have affected sales. I don't think it would have affected sales, because the people who are buying Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default are RPG nerds like me. Who are like, oh, new RPG? Yes, please. Yes, please, thank you. For the more casual audience, they're really just gonna play like the more casual audience who is interested in Final Fantasy. They're really just gonna play like the new big name game. Sometimes, or they'll go back to Final Fantasy 14 and just play that, and then just play that again. Amelia says, I mean, Octopath/BD was from what I remember supposed to not have the FF specifically because they wanted the Final Fantasy to go in a different direction and they didn't want the name associated with it. I mean, really me saying all this is just going back to a honestly pretty easy solution to kind of fix like the brand identity problem and reported sales problem that Final Fantasy is reportedly, not really, but reportedly going through now, which is just like dial back the scale a little bit, which I mean that's the case with most video game series. Like something that could help is just dial back the scale a little bit. you don't have to make it like you don't have to spend $20 million. Well, excuse me, you don't have to spend like $20 billion making it look like the most cutting edge graphical game ever. Now, that's how Final Fantasy really got started. Or like that, well, no, that's not how it got started. No, let me say that. That's how it got a really big push in the PS1 and PS2 era, is by looking like some of the most, like, visually impressive games out at the time. But people are so nostalgic for the PS1 and PS2 look right now that you can, yeah, you don't have to do that now. Wait, no, let me just... Okay. Okay, let's use Blizzard, Fire, Thunder. Oh, this is gonna be another one. Amelia says the sales issue largely stems from them funneling money from FF14 since it's their load-bearing game into the other FF projects, but they don't actually address the issues with those projects, i.e. mind-numbing side quests, mind-numbing and repetitive side quests, or 10,001 mini games that are awful. Okay, this looks like the start of another dungeon, so I'm gonna have to leave it here for the night. This looks like I'm gonna have... Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to leave it here for the night. I'll leave it here for the night, and then I'll be back with this game next Tuesday. So Thursday will be more God Hand, and Sunday will be more XCOM 2. So... we're gonna go raid... We're gonna go raid Punkyard Dog. Sleep says, also, I liked all the mini games for Rebirth. I mean, you can't, let's be honest, you really can't make a Final Fantasy VII game unless you include a bunch of seemingly random mini games. In the original FF7, there was a bunch of seemingly random mini games. There was the button pressing minigame, the snowboarding minigame, the exercise minigame, all those minigames that I'm sure people were like saying, why was this all in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? That was in the original. The freaking chocobo racing, everything at the Golden Saucer. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is going to be an interesting one when I get to that game. Because I've both heard of people who really like it and people who really dislike it. Anyway, so that'll be it for the night, and we're gonna go raid Punkyard Dog. So have a good rest of y'all's night. I'll be back on Thursday with more God Hand. See ya.